I went to New York City, which is potentially one of the most overstimulating places you can be, and in Times Square. That is where the event was. And I was in Times Square the whole day. And in the past, I mean, I could have been overstimulated in church, have had to walk out of theater shows my daughter was in and go hide in the car at intermission and, put on essential oils and try to pull it together. And here I was in the middle of Times Square. This is wonderful. I love this. I can enjoy what I see, enjoy what I hear.
Hey, Jenny, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you, Rochelle.
Good. I'm really glad that you are coming on here today to kind of share your story. We love doing these client spotlight stories, and your journey has been so inspiring to, become more calm and confident through joyful and present. And so I want to ask you, what would you say is the biggest measure of your growth and the biggest thing that you've achieved through, working with us to calm your nervous system and improve emotional regulation? What are the things that you think are the biggest wins for you?
I mean, honestly, getting out of fight or flight and even realizing I was in fight or flight, and then being able to see that I can regulate and handle stressors. I feel like that's a couple different things, but in the past, I was always anxious every so often, and I could never regulate that. And I, with your help and through the program, realized that I was in fight or flight. And so I think that's the biggest miracle through the program, to get out of that state.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear you are out of that state. What's different in your daily life now that you are out of that?
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. Just the other day, I had a trip to New York City for something involving a family member, and I really wanted to be there. And in the past, I would always say to myself, okay, I want to do something, but can I handle it? And I would try to self-protect and say, well, I better not risk it. This could happen, that could happen. I could have a panic attack. I might have to go back on meds. And so I would be very fearful. And because of the growth of the program, I said, I'm going to just go for this. I believe I can do this. And it brings tears to my eyes. But I went to New York City, which is potentially one of the most overstimulating places you can be, and in Times Square. That is where the event was. And I was in Times Square the whole day. And in the past, I mean, I could have been overstimulated in church, have had to walk out of theater shows my daughter was in and go hide in the car at intermission and, put on essential oils and try to pull it together. And here I was in the middle of Times Square. And I remember looking around and thinking, this is wonderful. I love this. I can enjoy what I see, enjoy what I hear. And then yet to know when it goes too far. We walked down a couple blocks and it was quite busy, and it was like a sardine can. And I said to my husband, you know what? I think I would like to move back to where we were. But there was no panic. There was no overcoming fear. It was just, I know how to move myself to keep myself safe and to stay in the bounds of what is healthy. And so I moved back to the other place, felt better, went right on with my day.
That is amazing, Jen. I didn't know you were in Times Square. I knew you had a trip. That is amazing. Congratulations. That makes me tear.
Thank you so much.
I mean, because I did the call when you joined Joyful and Present, so I know a little bit, but just if you could briefly say how long you've been struggling and what was it like before, so that you can understand what a big, huge deal that is.
Oh my goodness. I would say I was in a rough way for at least 20 years, and it progressively got worse. So I would say the past 15 years, I was experiencing results of trauma, fight or flight, on very strong anxiety medications, on and off of them, trying to get off of them, trying to get free. So I would say a good 15 years. And I will say as well, a great testimony to share with other ladies is that I have friends who knew me 20 years ago, and they saw me after my big change. And when they saw my face, they said, your countenance is even different. We can tell you're a different person. And so that happened slowly as I got out of a bad situation. But even more now with Joyful and Present, I am able to handle, and I guess this is the biggest testimony, just the day-to-day life with being a mom, being a wife, running back and forth, to do different things for my daughter. And I can do it with sanity, with peace. And when I do get to a point where it feels a little much, I know how to take care of myself now in a healthy way, not a rushing into another room. Because I guess to your question, where was I 5 years ago? I would start having a panic attack and I would tell my whole family, don't talk to me. And I would run into my bedroom, lock the door, take a very strong anxiety medication and go to sleep. Like I actually couldn't even, I would say like, please don't text me, please don't talk to me. I wasn't even right in my own mind. And so there was this idea of just running from it, protection, self-protection. And now I have one of the ladies in Joyful and Present, I can't remember what animal it was, but she said somewhere out west, there's an animal that heads into the storm when they see the storm. They don't run from it. And she so kindly said, like, that's you. And I do feel that. Like now I see a storm and I go, okay, Times Square, let's see. What do you got for me? I'm gonna do this. And I can run right into it.
That's so, I love hearing that, Jenny.
Thank you.
You have just shown up amazingly. Can you tell me about, like, not the particulars of, getting in the weeds of all the things, but like
Right.
the support, the training, like what do you think? I mean, obviously, like you get the credit because you showed up, because I always tell people like it works. It's basically inevitable that it works if you work it. And so you're a great example of one of the many ladies. Most of the ladies do, but you did a great job of really doing it. So how did you lean into support and what, well, let me back up. What made you decide that you really wanted that change?
Sure. So I think it was trying all the things. So I'm a proponent in eating healthy organic foods, of, giving my body sunshine, essential oils. I diffuse an essential oil every night. I'm a feisty Italian and I'm not afraid to even speak up with boundaries, but yet nothing I tried ever really made the anxiety go away. And I just couldn't figure out, why can't I do this? I'm a strong believer in God. I have faith. I've been a believer my whole life. I've seen God do miracles. And I guess that was the hardest part. Like, God, okay, I believe, I have faith. So why do I have to be dependent on medicine? Not that even, I'm not saying, under doctor's care that some people shouldn't have medicine for a time. And I did for a time. But I knew in my heart there was something more. I wanted to live free, and I knew I had faith. So anyone who would say, "Oh, you don't have enough faith," okay, that's not true, because we can believe as much as we, do, and still. And so I think I just got to the end of my rope. And when I saw your first video on social media, I thought, "Oh my gosh, this is me." You've tried all the things, and yet the cycle just keeps coming back of anxiety. So I'd be free for a short time. I'd be free for a couple weeks. I'd, talk myself through it. It would always come back. So that's where I just said, okay, enough is enough. I am desperate for a real change. And my precious husband came on board and said, okay, whatever it takes, like we want to have long lasting change. We don't want just a quick fix. We want real, the Lord says in his word that he came to give us abundant life, until it overflows. And I thought, is that how I feel about my life? No, I feel like I'm phoning it in. Like you've said in the past, like, do you feel like you're walking through your relationships in truth? Or are you in your head the whole time, like, okay, I just got to get through this? You're not really present then, and you're not really joyful. And so I was like, enough is enough. I need true healing and true peace. And so what do I have to lose? I'm going for it.
and so that's great, because that I've started to ask, like, what made you show up so well for yourself? But that's why, right? You had a motivating factor. You wanted to live different in your relationships and you were determined. It's the biggest hurdle a lot of people have, is taking that, like making that decision that it's okay to want to live differently, and that they don't have to keep, shooting themselves into, I should feel something that I'm not. Can you describe like what was helpful in terms of the support or the training or the integration of faith and neuroscience? Like, what do you think helped you?
So I will say there were some parts that at the onset I was all gung ho for, and there were some parts I was a little like, And so this is very interesting. It's the multi-prong approach. And what I believe is you've got it all right, the way you've done this. There's not just one thing. And I think that's what I would encourage people is, you deserve to have God's healing and to live in his peace and to do all the things that it takes. And so there was, being a part of the groups where we would come on a Zoom call and all the ladies would be there. We would all show up. And there was something about hearing other women who were going through things like me. I didn't feel alone. And I've noticed that in my life when as a stay-at-home mom, if I stay home, if I don't, put on makeup, put on nice clothes, and I'm just kind of like, here I am, I'm just going to hang at home. It does something to me. But when I know I have to show up and I know I have to see other women, it kind of calls you to accountability. Like, okay, I'm a part of something bigger than me. And hearing like even if I didn't share something, but I would hear someone else ask you a question, the way you would answer just kind of baptized my brain in the knowledge of neuroscience, of how I can change, how how to navigate these really hard things. So even just that, the call-ins were phenomenal. I loved the videos that you have recorded for us through the program where we can go in just alone. I can lock myself in the bathroom and turn on a video and hear your voice is so soothing and is anointed of Jesus, I believe. And just hear these tools of what I can do to get better. So I did a lot of that. I feel like just the science of it, the knowledge of, you've done your work, you've done your homework, you've been a therapist for so many years. I really trusted that. I trusted those years of experience. Like, okay, she's worked with people, she's seen results, and she's done her homework. And so just diving into that. So I would say the part that I wasn't as like sure about was the group. And I was sort of like, oh, I don't really need to be on these calls with all these women. Like, cause there's a part of you, you're feeling shy. And I'm not a shy girl, but you're like, I feel like a broken mess. Like, who am I to sit here and like, look at all these faces and like, I don't have anything to bring. But if you just have that simple faith of showing up, God does the rest. He leads, you lead, and then somehow you would see it, right? Where I would jump in and talk thinking I'm just asking a question, end up sharing a testimony. And then these girls would say to me, you encouraged me so much. And that win of feeling like I matter, I made a difference, I'm helping someone else, that took my mind off myself. So that was huge.
Wow. And you showed up so well for
Thank you.
yourself. And yes, talking about being anointed, you, Jenny, I mean, and you were such an encouragement. And I just
Praise God.
I love the courage that you showed in how you made the decision to join, and how you showed up, and how you encouraged other people and stayed consistent. And I remember there were some points early on where it was hard, and you're like, I'm feeling these really strong things, and and you,
yeah, for sure,
and you never stopped.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for your kindness, but I mean, I remember before calls on the Zoom and after, going through really strong anxiety and really, I mean, for weeks and weeks, this program was what I chose to do. I mean, my family jumped on board with me and I said, like, if I'm going to do this, I have to do this well. And this is going to be a sacrifice for everyone. But I would just spend as long as I needed to every day immersing myself in the material. But to your point, I mean, I would have a panic attack maybe before, maybe after, through the day, different things. But the more I did the work, and this is the part I can't stress enough to people, and I've tried to encourage the women on the calls, you're going to be in what feels like the valley of the shadow of death for, it could be a good amount of time. It may not be, like you say, everyone is different, but there were days where I didn't see change and I just kept putting one foot in front of the other and I just kept doing all the things. And it's like a person who exercises their body. You don't see a fit body overnight, but you have to put in the time if you want to see the change. And so I just love that at the end of this now, it's been 4 months since I started the program. Let's see, maybe 5 months actually, December to May. Yeah, it's been about 5 months. I'm a different person. But yes, there were days where I was like, is this going to work? Is this going to break through? Like, I believe in faith it will. But I'm just like, God, I'm holding on with everything in me that you're going to make this happen. And it did.
Wow. I'm so proud of you. And just just so to clarify too, like you're in our month to month growth, 90 days beyond, but we have a call around, I don't know, 70, 80 days or something. And you were doing great on that call. So you did get the results in 90 days.
I did.
Right.
I absolutely did it. That was mind blowing. Yeah. After 90 days, I was already a different person. And so the additional months I would really recommend too, because it keeps you, again, like your brain baptized in all that healthy information, and just to keep emphasizing the good, and then to give to the others who are coming behind me, that are starting fresh and need to have hope.
And even talk about the hope, just because of our last thing, because I know you said you were determined to change things, but it's scary when people don't know what to do and they find someone on social media or they don't know. I'm sure there was a part of you that was skeptical or a little fearful. Is there anything you would say to people who maybe are skeptical or think either they can't change or they can't trust the process? Is there anything that you would say to someone who was wanting your results but not sure if they could get them?
Yes. Well, I mean, on a practical note, I really appreciated that you offered a free video to give us a basic understanding of what the program offered. Because, I mean, if you're skeptical, I know there's a lot of things out there online, but I noticed you had a cross, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna. I know you can't totally go on someone who's wearing a cross, but I'm like, okay, that's a first step. Like she's a believer, and then I just put in my email and got the video, and that just, my mind went like she's reading my mail. This is all the stuff that she's talking about. What this program is about is where I'm at. Like, I'm at the end of my rope, and these are, I want to be present with my family. I don't want to be in fight or flight. And then I think in the video, maybe did you explain nervous system dysregulation? I think you did. And I remember thinking, oh, there's a name to what I have. Whoa, like that's a thing. And honestly, if you're skeptical, you're not going to be disappointed. I'm a real person, I'm just a regular person. And I just took a step of faith and God met me there. So have hope, because I mean, if I could get to that place after being traumatized for close to 20 years from some very serious things from my past. And my family and friends have seen like nothing was working, and I was just staying in this cycle. And now I've broken free, and I'm living an abundant life. I mean, that can happen for anybody. You just have to have a little bit of faith, and God will meet you there.
Well, I love that. And I think you're a great example, as all the ladies are who go through, of like when we give you the things to do on your own, and we're there to hold your hand and support you, then even at the 90 days you're staying on. A lot of our women do stay on and grow into, to other levels and things like that, but you've internalized these changes, so they're yours forever, right? It's not.
Amen.
So well, thanks for sharing, Jenny. And it's just like, it's such a pleasure to have you in our group, in our community. We love you, and we're so happy about the results you got.
Thank you, Rochelle. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. You have changed my life, and you are truly gifted and anointed of the Lord for what you're doing. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for choosing us to walk alongside you. So, all right. Thanks, Jenny.